A lot of people think their donkey's being stubborn when they freeze up like this, but it's not their feet that are stuck. It's their brain, their nervous system, their sense for safety. And what's the opposite of their feet being stuck in the mud? It's bolting. I have worked with and trained 25 wild and domestic donkeys. I've never had one lock up on the trail unless it was afraid. And they often will get stuck in the pen, the arena, or the driveway. And in this video, I'm going to show you why and what to do about it. I didn't know what I was doing with Shamus. I didn't know that a donkey doesn't freeze up to be difficult. They freeze because they're thinking, because they're afraid, because they're unsure of you. And back then, I was unsure of me too. He'd plant his feet and I'd wait, or I'd pull, just a little or a lot. I'd step in closer and his whole body would shift backwards. I thought maybe he was just being stubborn, or maybe I was doing something wrong. Turns out it was both. I didn't know you could learn to reward just a glance or a flick of the ear in the right direction. I thought training was about obedience, but with donkeys, it's about trust. It's about showing them, your donkey, that moving forward won't get them hurt. I've made mistakes, I've missed chances, but I also showed up every day. I didn't give up, I asked for help, and I gave him what we call the Uchi Gucci's. Just love, no demands. Love what we do? Grab some Training Wild Burro's gear to support the herd. That gave us something to build on, but it wasn't enough alone just to give Uchi Gucci's. I had to learn to reward the slightest try and to be a good leader for my donkey. Even though I missed a lot of those early tries, I did something else that helped. We call it the Uchi Gucci's. It's like when you're home with a baby, you're not trying to teach, you're just letting them know that they're safe and loved. That gave us something to build on. Even when I didn't get the training right, he still liked being around me. This video series came out of a poll, so thank you to everyone who responded. Your feedback was really helpful, shaping what I'm diving into here. I want to make sure that I was giving you something that actually helps, especially when you're working with a donkey that shuts down or bolts. Assuming that your donkey doesn't know any details of how to lead yet, we're going to start very slow, just going in circles. We want to make this a good experience. We want them to want to be with us. Now I'd walk towards his butt so he disengages when you get hung up in the mud. If you have trouble getting them to follow you at all, then we're going to walk towards their rear end, staying out of kicking distance. And we can reward for them even turning their head slightly towards us, leaning towards us, flicking an ear, anything to keep them engaged and being willing to find the yes answer. It starts off slow, guys. This here is Squirrel, and it took 7 weeks before we were getting his halter on and introducing leading. Go at their own pace. Now we're going to start on the next step. He's not terrified of the flag anymore. Hey, buddy. Now, it's not going to be pretty when we first start. So my movements are going to be like, think of a ballerina. I'm going to put my hand out where I want his foot to go. There, he did it. Okay, something to know with wilds is a lot of them are so sensitive. So you don't think that you have to like be crazy. There, he did it again. No flag, guys. So when you're bringing your flag up, you don't want to bring it up from the ground. So you don't want to bring it up like this. You want to come up so that you're by their neck. And then we can try to go into a circle. Now, when you first start the circle, it's okay just to get a step. Okay, so now look at him go. He's pretty sensitive. So now I'm going to bring my flag up. You see my intention says move. And one is going to be okay. There. Now I can just put my hands down and he already stopped. So he's pretty in tune, guys. Now I'm going to have my hands up. I'm trying to get ourselves back in the camera. You know, I got for Christmas this contraption. There, he's kind of nervous. this contraption that you put the camera on and then it'll circle you. And I haven't been doing anything that the camera would need to follow us. But I would say now this would be a good time for the camera to follow us. Wouldn't it? Yes. And it's okay to focus on one side till you get that going, okay? Help build up their confidence. Isn't that right, Chipmunk? Okay, so my hand's where I want his foot to go. And he's not doing anything. So now this is where I'm going to come up with my flag. There. Now I want him to keep walking. So my feet kind of stay somewhat still. I'm not going to step back. There. Now I could release it right there. Because right now we're just teaching him, I'm asking for a step. Now ideally I would want that brake to be right in front of the horse trailer, but that there would be too much. That's where he started to do it. That's where he needs his brake. I love that he's coming back into me already. That shows me that I'm not overwhelming him too much. He's blinking. His ears are moving around. They're not just pinned on one spot. He just did that lick and chew a second ago. Okay, now I'm going to come over and ask again. And so this here is, we're working on communicating together. And I'm going to try to get him to take that break over there next to the horse trailer. There. So that was a lot of steps. Nice work. And right now he's coming back into me. I'm not worried about that right now. Later on, I'll ask him to stay out there. But if he needs that reassurance from me right now, that's okay. If you've ever had a donkey get stuck in the mud or want to bolt, this series is for you. We'll walk through it together step by step. And why do I include bolting with them being stuck in the mud and having their feet froze up? Think about it like this. When you're driving your vehicle and you come up to a yellow light, you have to choose. You have one stimulation, that's the yellow light. Now you have to choose if you're going to get through that light or you're going to stop. This is two different choices that you have from the same stimuli. Similar to the donkey, when they're nervous, they're going to choose to freeze or to bolt. So when we walk through how to help your donkey through this freezing up, we're also going to be talking to everybody out there who has a donkey that does bolt. Now, if you're interested in deeper behind the scenes or extended training, join as a channel member today. If you're working through these stuck or bolting moments with your own donkey, I've got deeper behind the scenes videos just for channel members, where I go into more detail on exactly how I help each donkey through it, what I watch for, and how I decide when to push and when to pause. I'll never forget one of the first times that Shamus got completely stuck. He planted all 4 feet and just stared off into the distance like he was trying to solve a math equation. This moment, it was when we first got him home out of the trailer. When you're working with your donkey and you've asked them some questions, don't overlook their need to have soak time. Let them relax so that they can feel good around us. I don't know about you, but for me, I can become so focused on the task at hand that it can be easy to forget about this soak time. But we want them to be curious about us and desire to be with us. Anytime we feel like we've pushed them too far, that they're too elevated, it's okay to slow down to something they're comfortable with, something they can say yes to. Maybe they're afraid of your flag, and we need to build up that curiosity, because the flag should never be something they're afraid of. After they're captured, normally the flags are used a lot just to move them from one pen to another. There. So a flag can be, in the past, meant movement to them. I want them to move from my intention, not from my flag. There, he took some steps towards it. We're going to take it away. I want him to think he can move this flag, and that's going to help create curiosity and braveness. When I first got Shamus home, I ended up by having to bring him through an entirely different gate. I had pulled, then I pulled more. I had no idea what I was doing. I was trying to get him to cross this little concrete pad to go into the pasture, and he would not budge. I would circle him around like I was going to sneak up on him from the side, and suddenly he'd say, "Oh, okay, I get it. I get it now. I'll walk right in there." But of course, he didn't. What I didn't know back then is that donkey's freeze response doesn't come from stubbornness. It comes from fear or uncertainty. Of course, it could even come out of habit. And every time I added pressure without meaning to, I was proving to him that he had a right to be afraid. If you've got a donkey like this, one that freezes or bolts or just plain says, nope, you're not alone and you're not behind. This part of the process is slow, and honestly, it's supposed to be. On a little side note, if you have a donkey that's willing to bolt, you're almost kind of lucky. Donkeys are slow moving by nature. And if you got one that's willing to bolt, maybe you have more of a forward moving donkey, which could be really enjoyable. The thing is, when you get this wrong, it slows everything else down. But when you start to recognize the smallest try, when you reward just the thought of leaning forward, that's when your donkey starts to feel safe enough to move with you.
Good job. Good girl.
Being fully transparent, I didn't get this right at first, but I did one thing that helped. I gave Shamus what we like to call the Uchi Gucci time. It's not baby talk. It's just the feeling that I liked being with him, that he was safe around me. It wasn't training. It wasn't even on purpose. But looking back, I think it's one of the reasons we made it through. Now, if this part of the video is speaking to you, if you're in the same spot where things just feel stuck, this is exactly why I'm making this series. For people who are doing it the hard way, the slow way, the real way. A quick word of advice. Here are a few things not to do when your donkey gets stuck. Don't pull hard on the lead rope. It just confirms their fear. Don't add a ton of talking or pressure. It doesn't reassure them. It just overwhelms them. And don't be in a rush, guys. If they're taking time to think, let them think. The goal isn't just movement, it's confidence. You want your donkey to choose to move, because when they do, they'll keep moving with you. And that's what we're after. If you want a deeper look behind the scenes, how I actually work through this in real time, my channel members get exclusive insights on helping donkeys move through their fear, hesitation, and shutdown. You can join right here on YouTube, and it's a great way to support this kind of training-focused content. And of course, if you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss the next part in this series. We're just getting started, guys. Now, I want to reassure everybody out there. When I have done all these mistakes with Shamus, and then I think, oh, I wonder if he'll do that because last time he wouldn't. And it doesn't matter what is, if it's accepting a clippers or trotting alongside of me, he will do all of this stuff now. So be patient. Even if you're making mistakes as you go, just don't give up on them. Make sure that they know that you care about them. That goes a long ways, that reassurance with the donkey. They're thinkers. They like to be right. And they're going to take their time to think things through. So I'm sure glad that you're here with us. Stay tuned for the next part in the series, which will be from fear to moving forward, helping your donkey trust you is going to be our next part in the series. Now throw a comment below if you've been there like me with your donkey's 4 feet firmly planted into the ground while they refuse to move. We're going to help you through this, and I love hearing your stories. Donkeys require a sense of humor and the willingness to be humbled, guys. If you haven't yet, make sure you watch the first video in this series. I did an experiment with training my wild donkey to lead. Stay tuned and have an awesome week.